Our car tester Matas Kurat says that there is no shortage of pricey SUVs on the market with a sticker price of 100,000 euros. Some are even suitable for off-road driving. But until now, there hasn't been a truly luxury SUV out there, something along the lines of a large touring sedan, like a Bentley, that's also suitable off the road. The new Bentley Bentayga has changed that.
Nämlich den neuen Bentley Bentayga.
It's a very elegant car. You could even call it stately. But that still raises a question. As Matas points out, who really needs a car like this? Nobody really needs one, but when it comes to luxury cars, that's beside the point. The question is, who wants one, and who can afford it? Good question. In Germany, the Bentayga sells for well over 200,000 euros. What's the first impression? Matas says he doesn't feel like he's sitting in a 2-ton-plus SUV. The handling is very smooth and precise, and there's no roll to the left or the right when you drive quickly into a curve. Not bad. And the interior also meets with his approval. Matas says he likes that Bentley hasn't made the move to a fully digital instrument cluster. Real chrome rings on the dash just look nicer than chrome rings on a display. The Bentley has a very elegant dash with a large central display. It has a harmonious look that's suited to this class of vehicle. And in other ways too, the Bentayga is the pinnacle of luxury. Matas says it's evident in the details, for example, on the instrument panel, where the gauges are protected by a sheet of glass, rather than the ordinary plastic. Another nice detail up here is that the overhead reading light responds to pressure and doesn't need an extra button. So the Bentayga is a winner on the roads, but what about off the asphalt? 6 liters, 12 cylinders, 447 kilowatts. That should be enough to handle a bit of off-road driving. And indeed, the Bentayga puts up a spirited performance. The only downside is visibility. Matas says he can't see much. Here's the top. And now he's headed down again. State-of-the-art electronic control systems keep the Bentayga on course. Wolfgang Durheimer says a V8 diesel is due in a year and a V6 hybrid in 2 years. That will be Bentley Motors' first vehicle that can go fully electric with a range of about 50 kilometers in the city. But the first version off the block is a power-packed 12-cylinder. Matas says the Bentayga is quite handy off-road, but he's not really sure if he'd want to drive a car in this price category in terrain like this.
Dieser Preisklasse hier durch so ein Terrain fahren würde.
Instead, he heads for some terrain where there are no rocks or trees to scratch the paint job. Out into the desert for some dune boarding. But do SUVs like the Bentayga need to be able to handle sand? Matas says he's never driven a car like this into sand before. Bentley's Rolf Reich admits that sand driving might not seem crucial, but they found that in the Middle East, how well a car handles sand is a very important criterion. The Bentayga handles sand like a pro, but the driver needs a break. Time to take a look at the exterior. A Bentley trademark is the prominent chrome front grille and the speed-swept Bentley B on the sides. The rear is also trademark Bentley. Under the hood, there's the W12 engine. There's no sign of downsizing here. This is a brute. Time now to see what else the Bentayga can do. We're joined by Derek Bell, a race car driver who's a 5-time Le Mans champion. Today, he'll do a few rounds with us on the racetrack.
Well, you drove many cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really drove many cars.
Yeah.
You really drove very fast and very powerful cars.
Yeah.
Is it comparable to the Le Mans cars?
No, you can't compare it, obviously, because of the sheer height of the car. But the actual performance of it and the actual impression you get of the car is of a sports car. Obviously, it isn't, but it's amazing, and I forget that I'm in an SUV when I'm driving it. You can drive the car around the track as if it's a sports car, which is very rare.
Bentley's Bentayga is a sports car that shines both on the road and on sand. As a deluxe dune buggy, the Bentayga really shows what it's made of. Off-road, it masters the terrain with ease and feels like a comfortable touring sedan. Close to the perfect car for every kind of driving, if it weren't for the price and the fuel consumption. Car tester Emmanuel Schaefer says there are many alternative drive systems nowadays. The Toyota Prius has been a pioneer ever since the first model came out in 1997, but the fourth generation has big changes in store. The only thing it has in common with the previous model is the silent startup in electric mode. The new Prius boasts an entirely redeveloped 1.8-liter gasoline engine with an output of 72 kilowatts. In combination with the hybrid system, net power is 90 kilowatts. Top speed is 180 kilometers an hour. According to Toyota, fuel consumption is 3 liters over 100 kilometers. Emmanuel says the electric range is just 2 kilometers, but at speeds up to 110 kilometers per hour, you can take your foot off the gas, the car switches to electric mode, then you coast and don't use any fuel at all. In the previous model of the Prius, this was possible only up to a top speed of 70 kilometers per hour. The car's front has been given a sporty look. The previous model looks almost stodgy by comparison. The fourth generation is also the first Prius to implement Toyota's new global architecture, or TNGA. Compared to its predecessor, the new hybrid has improved handling and stability. And the new platform also lends the design a more athletic feel. The futuristic design is especially evident in the rear. The split rear window is a Prius trademark. Emmanuel says the car's interior matches the futuristic exterior. The radio and the displays have a high-tech appearance that suits the car's overall design. The steering wheel is not quite as attractive, but it's acceptable. But Emmanuel says he's not a fan of the white plastic. He'd choose something else because this will look dirty quite quickly. Otherwise, the interior has a clean, well-organized feel to it. Apart from the instrument cluster in the center, everything is pretty much where you'd expect it. The center console also has a wireless charging tray for QI-enabled smartphones. And a head-up display provides the driver with all necessary information. The seats have been redesigned, and the seating position has been optimized. Emmanuel says this fourth-generation Prius has more cargo space because the battery pack has been relocated to underneath the rear passenger seat. Does that affect rear legroom? Emmanuel says no. There's still plenty of legroom, about a palm's width. The base price for the 4th generation Prius is just over 28,000 euros in Germany, but that gets you a nice package of standard features, including a pre-collision system, adaptive cruise control, lane departure alert, and bi-LED headlights with an automatic high beam system. A new convertible version of the Mini is set to hit car showrooms. Its textile soft top can open or close automatically in just 18 seconds, even while driving at speeds of up to 30 kilometers per hour. In keeping with tradition, rollover protection has been integrated into the car's body, making it invisible to the eye. The convertible is 10 centimeters longer than the previous model, increasing the car's luggage space by some 25%. To mark the 20th anniversary of its Boxster series, Porsche has redesigned the mid-engine Roadster. The next generation models will be called the 718 Boxster and 718 Boxster S. They'll be powered by newly developed turbocharged 4-cylinder Boxer engines. It's the first time since the late 1960s that Porsche has introduced sports car models with flat 4 engines. The 718 Boxster S will have 2.5 liters of cubic capacity and an output of 257 kilowatts, allowing the Roadster to roar from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 4.2 seconds.
Our
car tester Jan Becher says crossovers are all the rage right now, so VW has introduced an Alltrack version of its Caddy model. But is the off-road look just for show, or is it really an all-terrain vehicle? The Caddy Alltrack is the successor to VW's Caddy Cross Lifestyle model. Alltrack buyers can choose from the range of 4 gasoline or 7 diesel engines offered for the regular Caddy. A natural gas variant is available too. Unfortunately, VW's 4-motion permanent all-wheel drive system is only available as an optional extra with the 2 most powerful diesel engines, with an output of 90 or 100 kilowatts respectively. We're testing the smaller all-wheel drive version. VW says average fuel consumption is 5.4 liters per 100 kilometers driven. Our test vehicle sells for just over 31,500 euros in Germany. Designed to be a lifestyle vehicle, the Caddy Alltrack looks the part with its 3 elegant chrome trim strips in the radiator grille. The black plastic trim on the wheel arches and rocker panels underscore the off-road look. Practical sliding doors on both sides of the vehicle make for easy entry. But what Jan really likes are the rear seats. They can be folded down or moved out of the way entirely, which is probably the more practical solution. Behind its large tailgate, the Caddy Alltrack boasts over 3,000 liters of cargo space. As well as the passenger version, the Alltrack comes as a panel van with optional rear wing doors. The Spartan interior is pepped up with carbon fiber and chrome trim, and there are plenty of storage compartments in the dash, the transmission tunnel, and the door panels, as well as a large shelf under the roof. But now it's time to take the Caddy Alltrack off-road to see what it's really made of. Jan says the Caddy Alltrack doesn't have much trouble handling moderately rough terrain thanks to its all-wheel drive and off-road ABS. And then there's the hill start assist, which means he only has to give gas and steer. The hill start assist means the Caddy Alltrack can make it up extremely steep inclines from a standing start without losing traction. But a hill descent control, like Skoda offers for its Yeti Outdoor, isn't available for the Alltrack, not even as an optional extra. So drivers have to make skillful use of the clutch and brakes to get the Caddy Alltrack downhill safely. Jan finds the steering quite smooth and direct, but he notes that the suspension is rock hard, as the vehicle is designed to carry up to 709 kilos of cargo. Although the Caddy Alltrack is essentially a pack mule on wheels, its combination of independent wheel suspension at the front and rigid rear axle works surprisingly well. Here, the VW passes our axle articulation test with flying colors. Jan says the Caddy Alltrack combines plenty of cargo and storage space with off-road capacity, so it's a good all-rounder that's also a true sport utility vehicle. It's one of the dilemmas of winter driving. You're headed up a hill, but you don't have enough traction to handle the ice and snow. That can even happen with four-wheel drive vehicles, like the Seat Leon Experience. That's why car tester Reinhold Deisenhofer will show us how to put on and take off snow chains. They're essential for safe handling in many ski regions, like here in the Austrian Alps. Even if you think they're not really necessary, they're mandatory on many roads. That's indicated by a round blue sign, like this. There are different kinds of snow chains. The best known are cable chains and clamp chains, but not every kind fits on every car. Reinhold says you should first check the manufacturer's handbook to see what kind of chains are best. And remember, chains should always go on the drive tires. Your manufacturer's handbook will tell you more. If you have all-wheel drive, for example, it will say which of the two drive axles is correct. Once that's settled, you can go to work. A car mat is a good idea if you're not wearing ski clothes, and so are gloves if it's cold. The instructions for putting on the chains are almost as important as the chains themselves. Be sure to follow the instructions step by step. Improperly mounted snow chains are a safety hazard. Make sure the chain isn't twisted and shows no signs of damage. Then start mounting the chains. If you're using hook fasteners, make sure you hear this. The click will tell you that the fastener is engaged. Once the chains are securely fastened, they can be tightened up, and then you're good to go. If the user's manual doesn't indicate otherwise, it's a good idea to switch off driver's assistance systems, such as ESP or traction control. The car's electronics can't sense that snow chains are installed and might even counteract their effect. Once you're back on clear streets, you'll need to take special care. Reinhold says snow chains only make sense in the ice and snow. On ordinary asphalt, they're loud, increase fuel consumption, wear out quickly, damage the road, and affect handling. He's driving just 30 kilometers per hour and handling is already mushy. 50 kilometers per hour is the maximum with snow chains, so it's best to put the chains on when you need them and take them off once you don't. Taking the chains off is much the same, in reverse. One tip: when you're mounting the chains, remember which parts are on the top and bottom of the tire, and put your car in the same position. Release the fasteners and give it all a hard pull. The rest is easy. Just drive off the chains and gather them up again. Reinhold recommends washing the chains at home in warm water, then let them dry and store them in their original packaging. And for optimal safety, be sure to read the snow chains manufacturer's instructions carefully first. The Vega Felia was a truly ambitious undertaking. It was envisaged as a challenger to Porsche and Alfa Romeo in the late 1950s. Its young French manufacturer Facel wanted to enter a new segment. 1959 saw the launch of a new little Facel called the Facellia. The two-seater sports car was unveiled to the public at the Paris Motor Show. The Facellia went down well among well-heeled car drivers, with 1,000 units ordered before the year was out. Being seen behind the wheel of a Facel was very much en vogue. Available as both a convertible and coupe, the Facellia came with a specially designed engine, a 4-cylinder unit with 2 overhead camshafts. The 1.6-liter power plant delivered about 115 horsepower. The Facellia competed in the mid-range luxury sports car segment, says vintage car fan Beat Loy. It was pitted against the Alfa Giulietta Spider and Porsche 356, but its price tag put it out of contention. It ended up costing almost as much as a Jaguar E-Type. On the outside, the Facellia was clearly related to Facel's larger luxury models, packing a V8 engine. But the designers gave the little speedster little in the way of the American styling seen in previous models. With or without a roof, it cut a fine figure. The rear had a bold, chunky design with sloped lights. It was flamboyant and glamorous, Paris-style haute couture. Facel had already made itself a name in the industry as a coachmaker for other manufacturers. In the early 1950s, explains our vintage enthusiast, Facel built top-class bodies for car makers, such as Simca, and to a lesser extent Bentley. In 1954, when Jean Daninos took over at the top, they decided to become a luxury French car manufacturer. The firm's experience paid off. The interior was dominated by lush leather and carpets, though the finish was not what you'd get from a volume producer. The Facel Vega brand was also known for its dashboards, which look like they're made of wood, but are actually painted metal. The young car maker planned to shift up to 2,000 Facellias a year, an ambitious target. But the innovative new engine proved the downfall of both the model and its maker. A large number of the engines failed, costing Facel dearly in terms of both warranty repairs and reputation. The company decided to install a new, superior engine, but it was too little, too late. The first engine had been commissioned from Pont-à-Mousson, better known for its gearboxes. Borrowing from Alfa Romeo, it had 2 overhead camshafts and ample revs. But more aggressive drivers who wanted to get the most out of the 4-cylinder unit were often left stranded with a bust engine. And the switch to a Volvo engine was not enough to save the Facellia. It was a cross between excessive ambition and poor business partnership. In next to no time, the car had a disastrous reputation thanks to the infamous engine, and that meant the end for Facel. Facel replaced 300 engines in the interest of customer relations it would soon no longer have. In 1964, the luxury French car maker shut down forever. Today, the Facellia is a great option for vintage enthusiasts after an exclusive classic car for a less than exclusive price. A convertible in good condition will cost you around 35,000 euros. The engines in the later models, as we now know, are more reliable. A Facellia is ideal if you want a special car that many people will recognize as a Facel, but not the exact model. The final version, the F2B, had a decent engine, so there were no more overheating problems.
Die thermischen Probleme waren weg, die Kolben sind nicht mehr laufend durchgebrannt.
The Facellia, a diva of a car with a fascinating allure, but no shortage of idiosyncrasies.